Man, it's funny how life can change in the blink of an eye or with just one event. Welcome back to Hot Topics TV, y'all. If you've never been here before, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up on Hot Topics TV. This one is about Brittney Griner, or BG as she is known throughout the WNBA and through to her fans throughout the world, and commonly known to those who are close to her. So as Brittney Griner closes in on 240 days in confinement in Russia, the former New Mexico governor and ambassador to the United Nations, Bill Richardson, provided some hope that the WNBA star might be coming back to the United States soon. This is a lot of good news for those who are close to her, and I'm definitely sure it's a lot of good news to Brittney. I mean, it's sad. People kick you when you're down, and she's gotten a lot of kicks being down. Let me just go ahead and say this first. I noticed the people that were kicking her when she was down, and it's the same people who kind of treat African Americans different from everybody else. If you know what I mean, read between the lines. All right. So as far as her case goes now in Russia, Richardson went on CNN State of the Union and said that in his informal talks with former colleagues in Russia that the country's officials are open to talk. Richardson, who pointed out that he is a private citizen and he was not negotiating on behalf of the U.S. when he recently went to Moscow, said that he is cautiously optimistic a prisoner swap could get done pretty soon. Now, this is good news for even me because I'm a big fan of BG. You know what I mean? And I'm one of them who's saying, send her home. We were able to find another case where a Caucasian American female actually went over to Russia and she was caught with a whole lot more and solid drug, the drug of choice being marijuana. She had hard marijuana with her. Brittney had nothing close to what she had, and that Caucasian female was able to be up and out of there in no time. However, I do understand that Brittney is famous, and this is also about politics. So not necessarily about race, but she makes the perfect throwaway person. Somebody nobody cares about, but in a sense, somebody that everybody cares about. Read between the lines again. You understand what I mean. So along with Griner, former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan is one of those Richardson's believes that could be coming home to the USA along with the WNBA champion. Whelan has been detained since December of 2018 after being arrested on espionage charges. Bill Richardson and Washington have not seen eye to eye on the process of getting Griner back to the United States as the situation around the Russian-Ukraine war intensifies. The relationship between the U.S. government and Russia has been strained, to say the least. So the State Department said in September, private citizens should not negotiate prisoner swaps with Russia. Whelan did not abide by the State Department's orders. Brittney Griner was convicted of drug smuggling and was sentenced to 9 years in a Russian prison after she was detained this past February. But the charge of drug smuggling, you would think that she got found with pounds of weed or even an ounce of weed, half ounce of weed even. Or she got found with cocaine with the intent to distribute and all this other stuff, which was the charge that was leveled against her in Russia. She was found with 7 grams of hashish, 0.7, not 7 grams, 0.7 grams of hashish oil before they imprisoned her. They were found inside, it was found inside of her vape cartridge, and 0.7 grams of hashish oil. You could pretty much scrape that off as residue yet she got sentenced to 9 years residue, right? The U.S. government designated the 6-time All-Star as being wrongfully detained. Brittney is highly decorated in her field. She won gold for us in the Olympics. She is a 6-time All-Star WNBA player, and she plays in the U.S. during a regular season, and then she goes over to Russia in the off-season to play basketball to subsidize her income that she is paid in the U.S. The argument still is on the table about how the WNBA is promoted and should they not be getting equal pay as the men. I mean, it's been our way in our society in the U.S. Women have always had to fight for more or to be treated equally on all levels. They wanted to be out of the kitchen and in the workforce. No one wanted to be home barefooted and pregnant anymore and just be that stay-at-home woman wearing an apron, waiting for you to come home while she cleans the house and takes care of the children. Women got out into the world. They're in universities. They're getting degrees. They are CEOs of companies. They are very high in government, even at a vice president level of the United States of America. So women have broken out of the box. Now, if you look at the WNBA, the argument is that the men make so much money in comparison to the women that the men are able to play their season and then take the season off. When it's off season time, go spend time with their family, do some partying, let loose a little bit, eat some of their favorite food, take the family on some exotic vacations, and then get ready for the next year to start when they check into training camp. But the women, they get paid so little that they have to fly overseas to play in another league for a whole season, which is another season of basketball in another country in Europe, in order to get some money to subsidize their low income in the U.S. So, you know, the talk is on the table that if Brittney was getting paid what she was worth, being a 6-time, listen, she is highly decorated, a 6-time All-Star, and she barely makes over $100,000. So with that said, right, the U.S. determined that she was wrongfully detained, and, you know, that little bit of stuff she was found with, there's no way that could have been for smuggling and for with the intent to distribute and all that. But Russia had a bone to pick, and Brittney was caught dead in the middle of it. Right when Russia invaded Ukraine and the U.S. stood against Russia and stood with Ukraine, they were able to hold on to Brittney, and they are now using her as a political pawn to get whoever they have to get out of prison here in the U.S. in exchange for her freedom and other Americans that are locked up in Russia. So that's where it sits. Now, as far as the whole negotiation process goes, we don't know what's going to happen. We're just still here waiting. And, you know, it's kind of a situation where America is now holding the blade and Russia is holding the handle of the sword at this point. If you can visualize that in your mind, he who holds the handle holds the power. In this negotiation, he who holds the blade is in a very delicate spot and might want to do and say all the right things so things work out amicably. WNBA players and coaches, they've continued to support Brittney Griner throughout the daily social media posts, free BG, and all this other stuff. And they've been very vocal about wanting to see the government continue to engage Russia on a possible prisoner swap. Most of this, by the way, will be taking place over a secured line away from the public view. So one day we might look up and Brittney Griner and Willen are on a plane back to the U.S. as prisoners that are Russian are being let out according to this deal. The other outcome is not so good. The other outcome could mean that she will spend 9 years in prison in Russia. And I mean, if she gets out after 9 years, I can't think of what her mind state might be, her physical state might be, and she would probably not be at the top of her basketball years again. She would probably just go ahead and retire. But let's speak positive into the air. I hope that that does not happen. I can actually see her coming home. And with that, I'll just say free BG, and she needs to be home ASAP. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one, and I'll catch you on the next video. It's Hot Topics TV. You already know, if the topic is hot, we're on it. I'm out. Peace.